Homelander is now immortal. So that's bad, like really bad. Because this is already a guy who can fly, shoot lasers out of his eyes, rip people apart like wet toilet paper, and emotionally collapse if one person on the internet calls him weird or doesn't let him enjoy his baby milk in peace. So giving him eternal life on top of that is a fantastic idea. And now with only one episode left, the big question is no longer how the boys will end up beating Homelander. It's worse than that, because how will they ever kill Homelander with the OG compound V in his system now? Because this changes everything. So guys, in season 5 episode 6, Homelander, he finally gets the V1, and this stuff is basically superhero moonshine. It's older, it's stronger, it's way more unstable, and from what we've seen, it can make Supes immortal, which is exactly what Homelander has wanted all season. Regular God Complex just wasn't cutting it out for him anymore, huh?
He's got V1 in his bloodstream. Frederick Vaught's first iteration of compound V.
10 times more potent than today's formula. Highly unstable. V1 saved your life, and is likely why your generation of Supes doesn't age.
But if Homelander got his hands on some V1, then theoretically, he'd be like Soldier Boy. Immune to the virus, maybe even immortal.
The whole season has been building around this thing. Butcher wants it so they can improve the Supe virus. Homelander wants it so he can become impossible to kill. Sage wants it because, well, she's Sage, and every plan she makes feels like it comes with 11 secret trapdoors and a backup apocalypse. And then Soldier Boy just hands it to Homelander after everything. He even admits he still hates him, but he gives it to him because of Stormfront, the woman Soldier Boy loved, and the woman who believed Homelander was basically the perfect suit.
Clara used to say that I was the strongest supe alive, but she was wrong. She hadn't met you yet. I loved her more, and this is what she would want.
And once Homelander injects the V1, even Butcher freezes and asks everybody to run. Y'all, this is Billy Butcher we're talking about. This man's entire personality is, what if Revenge had a drinking problem? He never, and I mean never, backs down from Homelander, but this time he knew there was no way he could win. So that should tell you everything. The virus plan might be dead for all we know, but there may be a little ray of sunshine that we get to see on May 19th when the finale drops. We got Theory 1. Soldier Boy takes Homelander's powers. So the boys fans, they're not convinced that V1 is the end of the story. In fact, the biggest theory online right now is that Homelander's new immortality might be exactly what sets up his downfall. And the answer might be Soldier Boy. Because earlier in that same episode, you see, the show goes out of its way to remind us of Soldier Boy's ability to burn V out of a Supe's body like he did with Bombsight.
I can take away your immortality and your powers. You won't have to live forever alone.
Why would you do that for me?
I'd do it for the V1.
Then he does exactly that. He blasts Bombsight and burns the V1 out of him, and it makes him mortal again.
This is the first time I've seen my blood, and I can't remember.
The show basically puts a giant glowing sign over Soldier Boy's chest that says, "Hey, remember this for later." And some fans, they noticed immediately. Nah, it's legit. Homelander is now immortal, but the Chekhov's gun in that episode was showing that Soldier Boy fried the V1 right out of Bombsight, making him mortal and powerless. This will be Homelander's fate, 100%. I'm sure there will be some twists and turns to get there, and I'm sure we will lose some main characters in the next 2 episodes, but I'd bet everything that Homelander is cursed to be a human and grow old and die. As the legend said, everyone gets pushed out. And right now, guys, this is the theory people cannot stop talking about. Soldier Boy gave Homelander the V1, but he can also take it away. And if his blast worked on Bombsight, there's a very real chance it can work on Homelander too. A lot of fans are saying the same thing. Take a look. He was testing to see if he could take the V out of someone's bloodstream. Bombsight, eliminating its existence by giving it to Homelander, and now he's gonna pop him with the blast to take away his powers.
I like that theory.
And honestly, it makes sense because killing Homelander would be satisfying, sure, but taking away his powers might be worse. Homelander's whole identity is built around being untouchable. He believes he's above everyone else to the point that humans are pets to him, and Supes, like the Deep, are tools to him. Big ups to Chase Crawford, but they did my boy dirty. Anyway, just imagine Homelander waking up one day and realizing he's just a man who can't laser anybody that annoys him anymore. Weirdly enough, A-Train already created this insecurity inside of him.
Take away these powers. And what are you, huh? Pathetic, weak, sniveling loser.
Of course, there's one little tiny problem with the Soldier Boy theory, my friends. Homelander isn't exactly going to stand there while his dad charges up a nuclear chest blast like it's a Dragon Ball Z episode, and people have pointed this out too. They've been telling you this whole time. When Homelander killed A-Train told him, "Without your powers, you will be nothing." And with Soldier Boy taking Bombsight's power away, it's obvious that Soldier Boy will take Homelander's power. Homelander isn't going to just sit there and let Soldier Boy charge up his chest beam, and I don't see how they can hold him down or restrain him now that he has V1. And guys, that's kind of fair, because now that Homelander has V1, the guy is harder to stop than ever. Even before this, pinning him down was basically impossible, unless you had Soldier Boy, Butcher on Temp V, and Huey all jumping him at once. Good luck doing that again, boys! So if Soldier Boy does end up depowering Homelander, it probably can't be as simple as walking up to him with a glowing chest. There has to be an opening, but maybe Ryan creates it? Maybe Butcher forces it? Or maybe Sage sets the board so Homelander walks into it himself? Or maybe Homelander's own ego does what it always does and makes him think he's too untouchable to be careful, because that's the one weakness Homelander has never been able to fix, and he may be more arrogant than ever. That could be the opening. We got theory 2 now. Ryan is Homelander's weak spot, which brings us to Ryan now, because no matter how powerful Homelander becomes, Ryan is still the one person who can get under his skin in a way that nobody else can. For most of the show, Ryan, he's been Homelander's legacy and proof that he's not alone. His chance to create another version of himself, but better, stronger, and hopefully less emotionally microwaved by Vought scientists. But now that Homelander's got that V1, the whole dynamic could change, because if he's immortal, he doesn't need a legacy anymore. Earlier this season, Homelander already beat Ryan badly after Ryan turned against him. And even though he didn't kill him, the relationship, it may already be broken beyond repair. Ryan made Homelander bleed, and for someone like Homelander, that's more like an identity crisis.
I am going to live forever now. I'll realize my own legacy. And you're off the hook.
So Ryan, he could be the emotional trigger in the finale, and the one character who can prove Homelander didn't have to become this. He's powerful, but he still has a choice. Theory 3, Homelander wins, and that's the curse. So guys, there is another possibility, however. What if Homelander doesn't lose? At least not in the way we expect, because episode 6 also introduces immortality as a curse. That's the whole point of Golden Geisha and Bombsight. Bombsight wants to give her forever, but she doesn't want it. To her, living forever is torture.
You're both so young, you wouldn't understand. Summer is only beautiful when you know winter's coming.
And that in line feels directly aimed at Homelander, because he wants eternal summer, he wants power, worship, and control, but what happens if he actually gets it? Maybe the finale lets him win just long enough for him to realize there's nothing waiting for him at the top, just fear, silence, and a planet full of people who either hate him or worship him because they have no choice. That would be a very Boys-style punishment. Theory 4, the comic ending, it's off the table. Now, if we're talking about finale theories, we have to talk about the comics, because in those comics, Homelander dies because Black Noir is secretly a Homelander clone, created as a failsafe to kill him if he ever goes too far. And yeah, that's insane, but it's also basically impossible for the show now. The show already revealed the original Black Noir killed him off, replaced him with Black Noir 2, and then season 5 episode 6 killed that version. So unless Vought suddenly rolls out Black Noir the Third in the final 2 episodes like a backup printer cartridge, the comic accurate death is not happening. And honestly, that's probably for the best, because the show has built its ending around different pieces like Ryan, Soldier Boy, Butcher, Sage, Marie Moreau, the virus, and Homelander's obsession with being loved. So a last-minute clone twist, it just wouldn't feel right. Theory 5, Butcher becomes the final villain. But even if Homelander fails, that may not be the real ending, because in the comics, after Homelander is gone, Butcher becomes the final monster. His hatred of Supes goes past revenge and turns into a plan to wipe out everyone within Compound V in their system. And the show has been pushing him in that same direction. Butcher wants a solution to the entire Supe problem. In every episode, he gets more comfortable with doing horrible things if it means reaching that goal. That's why the virus arc is still standing. Even if V1 protects Homelander, the virus has been too important for the show to just drop it. Hopefully, it may be the weapon Butcher tries to use after Homelander. And that's where Huey, Annie, Kimiko, Frenchie, Ryan, and maybe even Marie come in, if they let her. Because stopping Homelander is one thing. Stopping Butcher from killing every Supe on Earth might be the final moral test. Theory 6, Sage, Marie, and the final wild cards. Speaking of which, there are also a few wild cards that are still sitting on the board. First, we got Sister Sage. Right now, she's technically helping the boys, but let's not act like that suddenly makes her trustworthy. Her plans have plans, and if she says good morning, I'd check the sky for falling satellites. She wanted Homelander dead, sure, but she also seemed perfectly fine with letting the world burn afterwards if it meant she could come out on top. So if Sage helps takes down Homelander, there's still a very real chance she's setting up the next disaster at the same time. Blood manipulation powers could matter a lot here, especially with V1, the virus, and Homelander's body suddenly becoming the most important science project on Earth. If anyone outside the main cast has a power set that could logically mess with Homelander from the inside, it's probably her. But I don't think Marie is the one who gets the final moment, to be honest. She may help, mostly to create an opening, but the finale still belongs to Butcher, Homelander, Ryan, Huey, Annie, and Soldier Boy, because those are the relationships the show has spent the most time sharpening into knives. So, putting all of this together, the most likely ending is probably a combination of all of the theories if you really think about it. Homelander gets one final final taste of godhood. Maybe he takes full control. Maybe he reaches the highest seat of power. Maybe for a moment he really does look unstoppable. Then Ryan gets involved, while Soldier Boy realizes what he helped create. Sage helps set the trap. Butcher forces the opening, and Soldier Boy's blast, or some version of that depowering mechanic, strips Homelander of his power. Then Huey beats him up.
I would love to see that.
And if the show really wants to bring everything full circle, then there's Butcher with some massive superhero explosion. My final prediction, though, judging from all the fan theories, is this: Homelander either dies powerless or lives powerless, but he doesn't end the show as the untouchable god he thinks he is. Ryan, he probably survives because he represents the choices Homelander never made. Annie and Huey probably survive too because the show needs at least one thread of hope that's not completely soaked in blood. As for Soldier Boy, he either stops Homelander or gets taken off the board after doing it. Sage probably betrays someone because, obviously. But Butcher is the real question because the finale might start with everyone trying to stop Homelander, but it may end with everyone realizing Butcher has become the final boss, and that would be the most boys ending possible. And guys, if you made it this far, let me know down below which theory you're buying the most and whether you think Daddy Ackles will burn the V out of Homelander or if Butcher will end up becoming the villain, much like the comics. With that said, thank you all so much for watching, commenting, and have a good one. Bye-bye!